All right, Devin, tell us what you know about Stop Asian Hate.
I know it's been trending. I don't know if trending is the right word. I don't know if it's appropriate. But I've seen a lot about it, like on the internet, like hate crimes and stuff like that. Asian people getting assaulted in public, getting treated badly, people being racist toward them.
And when you say assaulted, what do you mean?
Getting a drink thrown on them or getting shoved in the street or beat up. I'm pretty sure there was something about someone getting jumped or beat up, something like that. Just an example. This was like a long time ago when I read about it, but
yeah. Albert, how about you?
I remember seeing on the news that some old people are getting pushed over on the streets, and some Asian stops are being robbed and things like that. Yeah.
So, Albert, how in your community also, or?
Not exactly in my community because I do live in a suburban white neighborhood, so it's
suburban white neighborhood?
Mm-hmm, correct.
I thought it was white people that were doing all this assaulting, but
I think it's a more educated neighborhood, so there's not that much of a discrimination going on.
All right, okay, I got it.
Correct.
Where are your parents from?
Chinese.
So how do people talk about Stop Asian Hate?
My parents never really talked about it. So
yeah, they never talked about it?
They never talked about it, and then they knew I was seeing things on the news and all. And then because we live in an area that's just so far away from most of the discrimination that's happening, I'm away from downtown. That's where most people are.
Yeah.
And then I'm just so out in the suburbs that it's not really a concern.
Isn't Georgia where the one shooting happened? It was in Atlanta, right? Devin is shaking her head.
It sounds familiar. Like, I know something happened in Georgia. I don't know if it was in Atlanta. It definitely, rings a bell.
Okay, so here, I want to point something out here. So first off, with Abby and Anna, came here 5 years ago from the DR. You live in North Philly. Okay, you got it. She's going to have this, right? And she's like, yeah, okay, I got a couple things to say, but you don't have this full laid out discourse, right? Albert, you're Chinese, man. You're living in Atlanta. The worst Asian hate example that we saw was a young man who went into some nail salons, different places, or massage parlors, right? Remember, this is the guy that was outside of the
Yeah, I do remember that part.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And he shot a bunch of people. I mean, that's really serious. And you're saying, oh, yeah, I do remember that. My point is, you shook your head, you remembered, right? And so we're going to come back to Stop Asian Hate in a second. But what I want to say is, we have this idea certain people in particular populations have knowledge of certain things that are happening in the world that maybe the rest of us don't know. But if we were in that population, we would know. But Albert is demonstrating something really, really cool here, which is saying, yeah, man, I'm just this Chinese guy, Chinese American guy living my life, and I don't just follow all things related to China and Asians. I'm living my life. I'm studying engineering, doing my thing, trying to be an engineer and pass my classes, right? So what else do you know? What would you want the class to know about Stop Asian Hate? What's the hashtag for?
I suppose it's more of a call to action to actively stop these actions on the streets. So, for example, if you do see someone performing in Asian hate, you would go up and stop them.
What Asian hate have you experienced?
Not much, honestly.
Not much? So you have experienced something?
I don't think I experienced anything because, I'm a big guy. People see me and they think twice, right? So it's not really much of my concern. People wouldn't really come up and try me. Last year, I was downtown near Sheetz. A guy was drunk, right? An Asian guy in the store pissed him off somehow, and then he came out of the store. He was drunk. He had no idea what he was doing. He saw me.
The Asian guy?
No, not the Asian guy, the drunk guy.
Yeah,
and then he somehow got into a altercation with an Asian guy inside. Anyways, he came out, he saw me, and was like, yo, why you do me like that? And then he kind of tried to pick a fight with me. And I was like, I don't even know you. Right? So then, does that kind of count as an Asian hate, kind of like a profiling, but then at the same time, mistargeting?
Well,
The wrong
dude,
guy here.
well, the problem is all Asians look the same, right? So
I can't say you're wrong.
it's just, I am wrong, my friend. All right. But I look at you, I look at 8 different Asian guys, I'm like, well, what's the difference? So therefore, if you're drunk, you're really not seeing it.
It's hard to tell.
Okay, so you were able to stay away from that altercation.
Right, yeah.
So, Devin, how about you? Like, what would you imagine is the most predominant hate crime against Asians that people talk about?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. Just from what I've heard, it's like mainly like assault crime, like assault, lots of racism, obviously.
What would racism be? Like, what's it look like?
Whether it's like slurs or mocking, stuff like that.
If most assaults are calling somebody a name, calling you a name, if we say assault, and what everyone thinks we're talking about is somebody like hitting you. But in fact, what we're talking about for most of the time, like 85% of the time, it's a slur, which isn't just a slur. It's a problem, right? But it's not the same as getting beat up.
I think when it comes to slurs, you are targeting someone's race directly versus like you can punch anybody on the street no matter what they look like.
Yep.
But to say a slur, you know that a slur is associated with your race.
Yeah.
And that I think takes it like a step further, or it's like more personal, maybe. Like I don't know, because.
Well, that's what makes it a hate thing. This is the thing. This is really important, and so this is one of the things in Social 119 that you're going to, the kinds of stuff that we will talk about in here, like assaults and attacks, because an attack. There was a case of the woman, an old elderly Asian woman. She's like 90 years old, and she got attacked by a woman with an axe, I think it was. That's really different than Albert walking down the street and someone calling him a name. That's a really different thing. And so in a class like Social 19, it's really incumbent upon us to have honest and open conversations, because that's how we have the fruitful conversation.